Ladies and gentlemen, now let's call on a brand thinker, a practitioner, a public speaker who speaks to audience across the globe. He's recently published a book titled Marketing Trends, Smart Insights into the World of Indian Business. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the brand guru and founder of Harish Bijur Consults, and today he shall take us through Hey Retail, What's New? May I request all of you to please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Harish Bijur.
I'm going to do a quick 20-minute, and I've called it Hey Retail, What's New? I mean, just trying to be contemporary in this old age. If you really look at it, what am I trying to do? First of all, I must confess, power corrupts and PowerPoint corrupts absolutely. And I'm quite a corrupted person, so you'll have to bear with the 20-minute on this. But I've used the 20-minute only as a set of visuals. I thought this is literally a morning session. It's the start session in the early morning. And there is a helicopter session, which Euromonitor has just presented in terms of numbers and trends and everything nice that is out there in the world of retail, global retail. I thought I'd go a little helicopter as well. But my helicopter would be a little quali rather than quanti, for the obvious reasons that the quanti is already presented. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that a lot actually has happened. A lot has happened in 2016. We are in December, and I think December is the month when all the calendar year closing really happens. And I think a lot has actually happened in 2016. If you really look at it, there's been a lot of learning in December 2016. There's been a lot of turmoil, and the turmoil has hit every industry. And I think retail is still recouping from some of the turmoil that Mr. Narendra Modi let out in recent months. A lot of tumult. And that tumult is not seen on our faces, because whenever we attend conferences, we are meant to put on those plastic faces and look at one another. When somebody asks you how are things, we need to say, very good, very good. But I think all of us have been through turmoil and tumult. And indeed, a lot of disruption. And I think disruption is the key word that I'm talking about. And disruption is a buzzy word for me, and that's what I'm going to speak about for a little while. Positive disruption even, positive disruption, because everything that's happening around in our lives is meant to be positive. We don't know whether it's going to be positive or not. We don't know whether demonetization is going to result in positivism at the end of it, at the end of 1 year. Are we going to be a better country? Are we going to be a country which is growing at a phenomenal pace in GDP terms? Is our 7.6% corrected to 7.1%, going to get corrected to 5.1% in the short term? Is it going to get corrected to 10.2% over the next 3 years on a continuous basis? Is CAGR at that kind of a double digit a reality? We'll all know only later. But it's good to be positive, and I call it positive disruption. As calendar year 2016 closes, the year has been a defining one for India. And, many things have happened really, and events that have churned the pot, as I call it. So I just picked up 3 trends. It's massive disruption in business, retail, everything, sales and marketing, and a memorable year which we'll remember for years to come by. I see 4 big positive disruption trends in India, and I'm trying to relate these trends to, retail. I just wrote a paper on this in my closing, year closing kind of a piece, and I take this out of that paper. 4 big positive disruption trends in India. The pictures are evident, and I think, they're all arranged in order. Picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, picture 4. In 2 of the pictures, there's a common persona. In fact, in 3 of the pictures, there's a common persona, which is Narendra Modi. And to that extent, I think all of us in retail need to look at Mr. Narendra Modi as possibly a key influencer, which he normally and naturally is. PM Modi and the demonetization of HDNs, high denomination notes, was certainly the first big business trend that I saw. A disruption moment for sure. The second trend that I look at is Mukesh Ambani and Jio with Volte. The voice over LTE is certainly a different piece of technology, a piece of technology we used to talk about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and we used to say in India, this is not going to work. I mean, we are all in a piece of technology which is very, very different. Today, VoLTE is actually redefining the way we look at, telecom. And I think future gen piece of technology has been unleashed by Mukesh Ambani and Reliance Jio. And I think that is disruption again. It's positive disruption, and it's a disruption for 1 billion plus telecom set holders in their hands. blazing speed internet, free stuff right up to now, 31st March 2017. I mean, what's it doing? It's pulling the carpet from under the feet of the telco. It's making the sky crash on the head of the telcos, which are around. It's making the telcos reactive, not proactive, but reactive. And I think that is the kind of trend that is happening in the second disruption I notice. So disruption 1, Narendra Modi, demonetization. Disruption 2, Jio and Reliance and Mukesh Ambani. In the picture, he's hugging Mr. Narendra Modi, of course. Baba Ramdev and Patanjali Ayurveda. I think this is the third disruption factor that I notice in the year that's gone by. And I'm paying a lot of attention to disruption with Baba Ramdev because Baba Ramdev has done something phenomenal. From a turnover, 1995 upwards, he's really talking of a turnover of 213 crores, growing gradually over a period of time to 1,220 crores in the next year. And then we're talking about 2,350 crores for successive sets of years. 4,950 years, hopefully in the closing that we're talking about now. 10,000 crores in the year that is ahead, apparently. Okay. And all this with Baba Ramdev not having entered retail at all, because he's in micro retail. He's in, the shivers, and he's in the kendras, and he's in through his hole-in-the-wall outlets. FMCG entry has just about happened, and Baba Ramdev's products today in FMCG occupy only 2.1% of the total retail opportunity in Tier 1 and Tier 2 towns of India. Okay, and possibly occupy a slightly larger portion, unaudited at this point of time, in the big cities that we are talking about. Baba Ramdev is disrupting stuff, okay? He's going to be a 10,000 crore company in FMCG, and I think that's big disruption. Who is he disrupting? He's disrupting every HUL, every Procter & Gamble, every Colgate, every guy with any product, okay? How many of you use a Patanjali product in your home? Could you please put up your hands? Please look around. These are the decent, completely well-endowed, wrong word to use, well-empowered people of India who attend retail conferences such as this, and you're using a Patanjali product. Oh, God, how intra-dig can it be? Possibly 30% of the people in this room use a Patanjali product. Patanjali's Dant Kanti possibly brushes your teeth in the morning, and that's a standard routine. Guess what, guys? Every Patanjali Dant Kanti that you find in your bathroom today has obviously replaced your previous toothpaste. Whose was it? Was it a Colgate? Was it my old brand called Pepsodent? Was it, n numbers of other brands? Guess what, guys? Every Patanjali gain is a multinational competition's loss. And what Baba Ramdev has done today is, he has actually trifurcated Indian retail, as I call it. And my trifurcation theory is simply to say that in the beginning, there was the big MNC which came into the country and made stuff out here. My old company, HUL, we used to bring sunlight from outside, manufacture here much before my time, later started manufacturing here, big MNC, HUL. That's one facet of retail, which lasted for 46 years. Second facet of retail emerged the Indian multinational. In came ITC and said, why must an overseas company repatriate profits overseas? I come in and create something called an Indian multinational. I create, even before Modi ji said it, make in India, made in India, sell for India, and profit for India. He didn't wear profit for India on his sleeves, but I think it's time they start doing that. Second type of company. So we had the second bifurcation of retail in India. And the trifurcation is the Baba Cool company of Ram Rahim, Baba Ramdev, Sri Ravi Shankar from our own city of Bengaluru, all of them creating products for Indian FMCG. 10,000 crores in Baba Ramdev's kitty is 10,000 crores out of the pocket of a multinational or an Indian multinational. Trifurcation, my dear friends, is here. And the fourth trend that I really see is Jayalalitha and her Amma retail format. Now, I'm going to focus a little on this just for a minute. Fundamentally to say that, hey, listen, guys, once upon a time, governments used to say, government's work is God's work. If you go to the Vidhan Sauda out here, right on top is written, government's work is God's work. Where is government's work? Government's work is looking after the people of the country. And how do you look after the people? By being in hotels, by being in FMCG, by being in durables, by being in every space that belongs to the people. That was generation one. And then in came India and said, this is all privatization. This could go into private hands. And all these businesses went into private hands, including the hotels and everything else that the government used to do. And the government said, no, we do something else. And now guess what, guys? a new wave, a new movement of populism is coming in. Communism is dead. But in the space of communism, I keep saying in the last article I wrote, I said in the space of communism comes populism. What is populism? Populism is what Donald Trump is doing in the United States of America. Populism is what happened with Brexit in all of Europe, and of course, really talking about what happened out of UK. So if you really look at it, communism is dead. Long live communism in populism. Populism can be seen to be very anti-capitalism. Guess what? The opposite of capitalism no longer, as I say in my paper, is communism. The opposite of capitalism is populism. And populism is Jaya, Lalita, Amma canteens, the 23 Amma efforts she's unleashed in Tamil Nadu. It's also going to be, we're working with a particular government up north, and this government is actually planning to launch 11 such efforts in retail. What's happening, guys? The government is entering retail again through the back door, with populism in mind, with the votes of the future certainly in mind and in their pocket. Expect 4 states are working on this on a complete format at this point of time. So I think those are the 4 trends, and I'm going to close with those 4 trends and move to 3 pieces of trends and then close what I'm talking about. Government's work is certainly God's work. The 4 disruption events really tell us a lot, and I think I've done that. The future cannot be taken for granted, really. If you really look at the future, you cannot take it for granted because the present is comfortable. Okay, so don't look at retail and say that I'm in a comfort zone. Look at 4 disruption pieces at least. One needs to prepare for the future with the lens of the future in mind and not the lens of the past and the present in mind. A motherhood I want to throw at this audience. Sometimes we cannot see the future at all, and sometimes we can, and yet postpone the inevitable because we are on a roller coaster, which is the current roller coaster. So my suggestion is invest. Invest in creating new formats for yourself, looking at the trends of the future. And, of course, competition and competitive forces in society are capable of changing the game dramatically in a very short period of time. We have seen what Baba Ramdev has attempted. We have seen what Jio is doing at this point of time. Denial is the easiest form of postponement of action, and I think many of us get into a denial mode most of the time. Drama is possible. We have to accept it. The floor can be yanked off from under our feet. The sky can fall on our roofs, and I think that's possible. The telecom industry is going through the throes of it at this point of time. Competition is planning dramatic action quietly. Nobody's going to talk about it, but dramatic action is being planned quietly, and Indian retail is also going to be exposed to one piece of dramatic action in the next 18 to 20 months, possibly. The only permanent thing is therefore change. This is not me, but this is Heraclitus, 326 BC. The only permanent thing is change. Okay, my last 4 minutes. What's new then in retail, and what else is ahead? What's exciting me? I'm really asking what's exciting me in retail. Lots, actually. I peek at just 3. I obviously don't peek at 4 other pieces of action which I'm working on, because that would be confidential information with the client I'm working on. But I'm just taking 3 pieces just to give you a trend. And those of you interested in reading more about it can pick up a paper off Twitter, which will explain it in a little detail. There are 43 trends there. The first is naked retail. Naked retail. I mean, you know, I'm quite excited by naked retail. You dirty guys don't think what you're thinking. I'm seeing some of you smiling. It isn't that. It is, you know, just plain stuff being sold. Wheat being sold as wheat, atta being sold as atta, with just no packaging, with just no branding. It's a no-brand movement. It's not Naomi Campbell as much as a different kind of a movement which is sustainable. One is really talking about the no-brand store. In Berlin, I walked into a no-brand store, and I had a big fight with him because, you know, he's written no-brand store on top. Everything is unbranded. And then right in front of no-branded store, he's got a small R registered, trademark kind of a thing. And I think that was horrible. But the point is the no-brand store or naked stores are growing. The natural, as-it-is store, as it is, the way it came out. Orgism retail. Orgism retail is exciting me as well. What is orgism retail? It's outsourced and owned retail, the way I see it. It's app-based retail, okay? And orgism retail is organic evangelism retail, okay? Organic plus evangelism is equal to orgism, and this orgism evangelical retail is, hey, listen, you're sitting in Bengaluru, I'm in the big bad world, I want to grow strawberries, I can't grow strawberries here, I grow strawberries in a farm somewhere else, and guess what, it's app-based, I go to the app, I pick the land where I want to grow strawberries, and the patch that I can choose is 6 square feet of strawberry land. And you take 6 square feet of strawberry land, you start growing strawberries there, and then, of course, it gets watered. You pay for everything. You pay for the hire of the land, you pay for the water, you pay for the plucking, you pay for the boxing, and it comes to you, you say, I grew it in my land. Does it belong to you? Yes, it's outsourced totally to someone, and this is orgism retail, and it gives me a certain kind of orgism. Grow your own stuff in 20 places, guys, 20 places, wherever you want. You grow strawberries here, you grow chili somewhere else, and all it does, it lands up at your place. Own the reward, guys, and that's something we're talking about. If you really look at it, decide when to harvest, okay? You can online, through video streaming, through live video streaming, you can actually see the status of your strawberries. And you pluck when you want it, and you harvest, and you get it. And of course, you bear the risk of it as well, because if it goes bad, they'll show you the rotted, stuff. And you'll say, yeah, it's okay, I lost. It's like your play on the stock market. You know what's happening there. Segmented retail, my second last one. Existing retail will segment. It will segment basis many, many things, like it will segment basis gender. Take Cafe Coffee Day. Let's say it's likely that Cafe Coffee Day tomorrow might have a men's-only Cafe Coffee Day outlet. Huh? No. Siddharth is not planning that. But the point is, he could have possibly a men's-only, women's-only kind of a cafe. Choices, it could be about, what kind of choices you have. A rock music cafe coffee day, a pop music cafe coffee day, an artist coffee day. Because sometime or the other, you have to stop looking like a ration shop, and you need to start looking specific to a community, to the community you belong to. My dear friends, one of the biggest diseases in modern retail is looking like a ration shop. Never mind all the stuff that you're paying and investing and trying to create differentiation. You know what you've done? This commoditization of retail is the big one. Every big basket looks, not big basket, big bazaar will look like every other big bazaar. Why? And I think over a period of time, I think things need to change. Every coffee day looks like every other coffee day except for the locale and except for the brand name that it possibly has. Why? Possibly investing each of these with personalization, with a kind of a character is going to be the future. And other multivariates. Okay, there are 17 multivariates we work on in retail, and each of these multivariates contribute to, so if any of you are interested in morphing your retail from the ration shop look kind of a retail into something else, it's not about design, it's not about visual appeal, it's not about merchandising, it's about strategy. And so there are 17 multivariates you can actually work with and invent for yourself what you want. The last one, I think, is IoT store. As I've said, I'm covering only 3, the rest you can pick off Twitter. Unmanned stores. The unmanned store is a reality, and the IoT store is a reality. We are working on one IoT store. And what's an IoT store? Internet of Things, Internet of Everything. Hey, listen, IoT-enabled stores. The IoT-enabled store is really a tech swipe store. There are no people in the store at all. There are 22 sensors. They tell you there are sensors at ground level to look at your feet, there are sensors at mid-level to look at your middle body, and there are sensors at the face level to look at your face. There are the 360-degree sensors. There are top-down sensors, vertical sensors, horizontal sensors, diagonal sensors. There's sensors everywhere. You can't scratch yourself without being seen. Okay? Okay, by the way, I work with one retail outfit where I've seen these retail videos. Even today we have the video cameras watching, and the biggest item that we have seen in that particular store is that 8.5% of people dig their nose when they are within your retail outlet. Okay? So even that can be seen. Now, can you imagine what 22 sensors will see? They'll see a lot. Tech swipe stores, these are called. Low-cost stores, no human being out there. Works beautifully in a country like Japan, where it's extremely expensive. Works lousily in a country like India, where we have so many people out there. The salary-less store, I don't have a salary burden at all. Retail, Nagesh is going to get very upset with this. I call you the god of retail at this point of time with everything that you're doing for the retail guy on the store level. The salary-less store, you're talking things. And for more, guys, I think I'll close with that. You can read a paper of mine on the same on Twitter, and my Twitter ID is @HarishBajur. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Cheers.